Talk Amico for a little bit.
Here's what talking Amico.
Who I seen that Dazed Gaming. I think that there's more trouble afoot with the community. They're not getting along.
Well, yeah, that's the whole toxic community. This is just a game system. I mean, if you don't like people reporting negatively or positively on it, you really should look inward and reevaluate what the fuck you're doing with your life. All right. There's no need to harass, attack, dox people. If people say mean things about people you like, so what? Fucking grow up. You're not children. You're 40-year-old men running around making alt accounts and fucking trying to dox people because they said mean things about somebody or something that you like or do not like. Grow the fuck up. And this is from somebody who spends all day playing video games and watching fucking superhero movies, all right?
Yeah, I don't get it. It's
Oh, Evil Knievel wants to know, Gary, Scarlett Johansson or Elizabeth Olsen, gun pointed to your head?
Elizabeth Olsen. Ooh. I think I'm digging the Scarlet Witch.
I think now I would agree, but if it was like Scarlett in her prime versus
Scarlett like 5-6 years ago, yeah, I'd agree. I think she's on her way down. It took me a while to even realize who she was. Like, I didn't realize she was an Olsen. I was like, what? Wait, that never dawned on me. It took me until like a couple years back when I looked up and I was like, wait, Olsen. And I had to click and I was like, wait, she's a sister. I was like, what? That never dawned on me. But yeah, she's pretty. And that Russian accent.
Yeah. So what do you think about Dolphin Quest not being an exclusive to Intellivision Amico?
I think that's good. I think that's good for the guys making it. Definitely that could get them more exposure than just being on the Amico, which if it's doomed to fail, that doesn't spell success for those guys, pouring their heart into it. And I think it could be, I think it could be something special. It looks okay. I mean, it's, I think a lot of people need to see it and get hands on to see if they're going to like it. I think they've got an upward battle with the games that come out nowadays. There's so much stuff on Steam and Xbox and PlayStation and Switch, but it's definitely, it can't hurt that they're going to be able to have this on other platforms. So, if they were sticking to Amico, it would be bad news, in my opinion.
Just before we get into that, before I say what I want to say about that, I need to inform you, Gary, that the video we did on the business licenses of the television company being suspended,
right,
has been put on the official corporate Amico Reddit. So I look forward to maybe John Alvarado or somebody dropping by and
explaining it a little bit,
correcting the misinformation that we inadvertently spread.
Oh, okay.
As always. Yeah, I do agree that it is a good thing for gamers that Dolphin Quest will be on a multi-platform. It's a horrible, horrible thing for the Intellivision Amico. Hey, what's up, 1-inch biceps? You came just in time for the Amico talk.
Yep, just in time.
Yeah, I think it's a horrible. Now, I don't know if this is due to an expiration in the contract because the Amico hasn't launched yet, and it was signed and it was supposed to be out, and then like the exclusivity 1 year after the 10/10/2020 date. I could see Tommy signing contracts thinking that it was going to be out at the 10/10/2020, signing contracts with very specific, like we're going to launch on 10/10/2020. You could put in multi-platform by 10/10/2021. Then it doesn't come out, and now like, oh well, you shouldn't have put dates. You should have just said 1 year after launch. You know.
Right. And well, these guys got to eat, man. I mean, you got to think that they're not
Well,
associated with what's going on with this console release, and so these guys they got to get something for their work, right? I mean, they shouldn't be
well,
punished because the company's not ready to release a console.
well. Here's the thing. For Dolphin Quest, at least, Ed Nunziati is not a starving developer. He's not like living paycheck to paycheck, waiting for the Dolphin
Well,
Quest on
well, I
Amico.
understand that, but you know what I mean. Like they're still working hard on this project, and if an Amico is not going to be ready to be launched sometime early this year, then I mean, how long has it been since they showed that off? I mean, that's been shown since the very beginning, right? I mean,
Yeah,
when they showed the lineup of games or whatever. So it's not like this is just they've been working on this for the last 6 months. They've been working on it for a long time. So, and whether they have the money, whether this is hurting them financially, it's still not right that you're working on a project, and if it were exclusive for the Amico, then those guys are kind of screwed unless Tommy's paying them or Intellivision's paying them. So it's good to
yeah,
see that hopefully get out into gamers' hands, and not only get some feedback and see what's going on, but get to get what they rightfully deserve for their work. So.
yeah. All right. So, Chappie McChapter says, "Right, Tony. It would be interesting to know the story behind the exclusivity. I wonder how many other games it might affect." Well, it would be interesting when it's all said and done to know some of the finer details, because you can't really, I don't want to say this to hurt anybody's feelings. Sorry, Tommy, but I don't trust anything you've said anymore. Like there's no trust. I don't trust any of the statements you've made in the past. Um, so it's really be interesting to know if they were ever exclusive. If Tommy was always just talking out of his ass. If it was always a limited exclusivity. If there was a timed exclusivity. Uh, whether there was dates and that's why they're no longer exclusive.
I mean, a
Like I
timed
said, maybe they were going to
exclusivity is a
be.
good possibility.
It could have ultimately been down to that it was supposed to be exclusive. Then the console didn't launch, and the team basically went up to him and was like, "Hey, you're not launching a console. What's the deal? If it doesn't come out, we want to be able to take it somewhere else." And Tommy, not wanting to lose the game at all, was like, "Well, okay, you could put it on other ports as long as we still get an Amico version." We don't know, the finer details of what's going on. So it would be interesting at some point to learn exactly what happened with each game and how they got to where they're at. Because as we know, Space Strikers is not going to be exclusive. It's coming out as Graviators or something like that, Gravitors on all kind of consoles. The next thing we need to kind of address is, do we trust what Pat said as far as, this is what he was relied, uh, the information that he's presenting. Do you think that he's being 100% truthful? Do you think he's exaggerating, embellishing?
At this point, and that's the thing. It's kind of hard. I like me some Pat and Ian, but at this point, with the kind of feud going on, I would take stuff that he says with a grain of salt. Whether it's funny or not, and whether it's true or not, it's kind of hard with that. Obviously, there's a bias there now because they've just been going back and forth at each other. So especially when you watch those certain podcasts, and they got Tommy calls in at the end of quite a few episodes now from time to time. It's kind of hard to take that serious now. At the beginning, I think they were being really truthful, but the feud started, and now it's like you gotta take it with a grain of salt. So yeah, I'm not gonna take anybody's word for it at this point if you're invested into the Amico, unless you're like guys like us who are just trying to be, we're trying to be fair. At this point, I think it's pretty clear that Pat and Ian aren't fair going forward, because there has been that they were being fair, they were criticized for being fair, and now it's just like, well, fuck you, Tommy, I don't care anymore. So
Yeah, I agree. I could see Pat. I'm not going to call Pat a liar, but I could definitely see him at the very least omitting maybe some of the things that Ed might have said to him, or embellishing or playing up some of the things uh, as being more serious. Ed might have said, "Hey, maybe we're thinking of a Kickstarter," and Pat said, "Well, they're definitely doing a Kickstarter." So there's always room for they could have be he could be lying, exaggerating. Uh, we don't know. Like I said, I did reach out to Ed. Hopefully, he agrees to an interview. We've exchanged a few messages, so hopefully we get there. It'd be interesting to know about the game. Ask a little more about Echo the Dolphin, some of the other projects he's worked on. He seems like a really interesting dude who is very um, is into environmentalism and uh, preserving the oceans and stuff. So with that said, what do you think about what Pat said that there's going to be a Kickstarter for Dolphin Quest?
Yeah, I think that could, it works out. It's going to get to see where the interest is in that project and in the game, and see if that more could come. Obviously, more can come of the game if there's a lot of interest, right? If it raises a lot of money. Obviously, Kickstarter can be a super positive things for games. I mean, obviously, you look at stuff like Shovel Knight. I mean, just off of their Kickstarter, I forget how much they raised when they had their Kickstarter, but they've been doing Shovel Knight content for a long time before they did Pocket Dungeon, and they're still currently in development with Shovel Knight Dig. But it can only be a positive thing, especially when these guys are established and they're not grifters or shysters or whatever you want to call them, and they're kind of trusted in the industry. So I think it could be a good thing.
Uh, you don't think that could hurt the image of the Amico with one of their big games, one of the games that they've played up as being the most interest drawn towards it, having to go to Kickstarter to be funded?
I mean, obviously, some people are going to look at it that way, but I look at it as he's not involved with what's going on with the console.
Yeah,
And
but I'm saying as far as like the Amico, like they were saying, we got these games coming, and now this game might not even come if the Kickstarter fails. You see
well,
what I'm saying?
I feel like the people who are invested into the Amico don't really care one way or another. I don't think there's anything that could happen that's really gonna sway their decision on the Amico or anything like that. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of critiquing from certain people, but I think it's just normal stuff.
Wiley has a hot take here. He says Amico is a cash grab and a pension fund for a group of elderly people who have no interest in video games. Sorry, I have yet to see Tommy or John chatting passionately about video games. Uh, I've seen Tommy chat passionately about old video games. He doesn't seem to have any interest in anything modern. I've seen him mention things in passing, but usually to shit on them or to tell me how difficult they are.
Right. And that just, to me, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I can understand if you're passionate about that generation of gaming. And, I'm not the biggest fan of like next gen new stuff that's coming out currently. And that's mainly because it's expensive and it's not accessible like it used to be. I mean, when 360s came out, they were cool. They were a little hard to find, right? I think that's kind of when, PlayStation 2 and 360s, that's like when it started to be hard to find those at launch. But it after a year, it was easy to get your hands on a 360 and a PlayStation 2. With these new consoles, it's harder to find. I mean, you still can't find them in the store. It's been a year. They've been out for a year now, and you still can't find them in the store. So, for me personally, it's the newer stuff. So I understand that, but where Tommy goes about shitting on just everything that's new doesn't make any sense. And I think that's just to sell the Amico I don't know if he really buys into what he's saying, because there's a lot of great stuff that is similar to the Amico, but he doesn't want to acknowledge it. And he doesn't want to acknowledge it because he's trying to sell this as something that's kind of like has never been done before, right? I mean, obviously we got into the Wii stuff, and it's like, wait a minute, you forgot about the Wii and motion controls with that, and you forgot about how the Switch is doing what it's doing with family friendly content. So I don't truly think he believes all the stuff that he says, but it's just odd to me that he goes about the gaming the way he does. Either that, or he truly does believe it, and that would truly make him an asshole in my book. Because I don't see how you can disregard things that have come out, in recent years or in the past 5 to 10 years. It just baffles me the way he talks about the industry. So, I mean, the industry's
Yeah,
not perfect, but
yeah, I would agree. No, Evil Knievel, I don't have the coof. Um, I'm immune. Jesus is my mask. He is my savior and my vaccination. Um, says Gary, you go girl. Um, so what do you think that if, let's say they go on to Kickstarter, they do a Kickstarter for Dolphin Quest, and it fucking knocks it out of the park. It blows it out of the water, Gary. Do you think that that's going to be bad news again for the Amico, because now they're going to have all kind of money to make this really great game that the Amico will not be able to handle?
yeah, I think definitely. I think that if their Kickstarter endeavor really takes off, there's going to be a lot of goals that they hit, and things that the Amico just cannot do. That why would you? I mean, obviously, they're going to people who have an Amico, if it does get released, that are going to want to play it, but it's going to be such a watered down version that I don't see it being superior than a Steam version or a Switch version or Xbox, wherever it goes. It's definitely going to suffer at the end of the day. And then who knows? I mean, if the goals get really, if the fundraising gets up there, and they hit these goals, or they make goals that they're going to hit, that just transforms this game from what it was going to be on the Amico to what it is on another platform. Yeah, that's going to be rough for them, because yeah, who wants to play an Amico version when you play the Switch version and it's got 20 more features and multiplayer and all this other stuff. So it definitely could spell doom for the Amico, and this could be a big hit on Intellivision's part.
Yeah, do you think it's going to end up being where, like in the old days, where you would get a say a like a PlayStation version and then a watered down, crappy like Game Boy version?
Well, and here's the thing: I always looked at games like that, and in the last, I'd say 10 years, kind of going back to games like that, like they had their purpose, right? I still think that, like, you could play Mega Man 5 on Nintendo and you play Mega Man 5 on Game Boy, and those are two totally different games. And a lot of people absolutely love Mega Man 5 on the Game Boy. Now, obviously, it's a watered down version, right? You don't have that same, um, you don't have the graphics, like the colors didn't carry over, and things like that. And obviously, you were on a scrunch screen and stuff like that. I do, I do see it just being bad for Intellivision all around if just if they knock this out of the park. But I they have their place. Like obviously, like they're, if they can use the controllers in a way, but and it all comes back to those controllers not being able to do much. I would understand, like, there would be a reason to play Dolphin Quest on the Amico if those controllers had something unique, but because they can only hold so much memory or whatever, and you really only get like a static screen, it really doesn't bring anything to the table. So why would you want to buy that version on the Amico if you have a Switch or an Xbox and the game is just, leagues better?
Yeah, and you know, as the chat has brought up, Chappie says here, interesting. I had no idea Ed tried a Kickstarter for a spiritual successor for Echo already a few years ago. We already had a Kickstarter that failed for a spiritual successor for Echo the Dolphin. How do they expect to do any better now?
Well, here's the thing
You
that
think less
first,
people would be aware?
well, the first Kickstarter, did they actually have any concept or anything to show? Because I mean, now obviously you have, um, they do have gameplay. Obviously, they have probably got quite a bit of the game done, right?
No,
So
they had a trailer and everything.
was it like the exact trailer that we got with the Amico stuff?
No. No, I
See, I
already
mean,
checked on it.
yeah, and I mean, when people seen that on the Amico games reveal like a couple years ago, people were excited. They thought it was Echo the Dolphin. I was never a huge Echo the Dolphin fan, just because the game was kind of like, if you've ever played it, it's confusing and it's kind of all over the place. It's graphically, I think the game looks good. To me, it was just such a cluster of a game that, like, as a kid, it was hard. It never made sense to me. I always wanted to play it and enjoy it, but every time I pick it up, it's just not really an enjoyable game for me. I do think
Yeah.
that now people could be more excited about it, especially that it is what it is now versus I'd have to go and see what their original Kickstarter thing was, but I
Well,
definitely
I will
see
show
them
you.
probably gaining some.
I will show
Okay.
you part of the video right now. Uh, the Kickstarter had a video where it was basically Ed and the other gentleman talking, and then for a very small section, they had a little gameplay demo. So hopefully, everybody can see this. Hopefully, it doesn't stutter. I won't play the music, but that's Ed looking much younger.
Well, and here you go. You got, like, this looks a lot different, right? And then I think, when was this done? Like 2016 or 2015?
That was done 2013.
Oh, wow. So that's a lot older than I thought. And I think you got to take in the time. Um, I think people are a lot more forgiving now, and that obviously was on an iPad. So people are thinking like an app for the phones. And I think people are a lot more forgiving on games like that now. And I think there's a lot bigger of an audience. So I think that has to do with it. I think people thinking of, hey, I'm going to play a game on a iPad or whatever versus playing on my Xbox. I think there's more forgiveness nowadays than there was back then. So I definitely think they could take this much farther on Kickstarter than they did when they initially had that.
They were on
Yep.
Kickstarter, Gary. So that game was on Kickstarter. Ed Annunziata announced he was going to do the spiritual successor for Echo. They got coverage in Polygon and Kotaku's and all that, all the major outlets. How many people do you think actually, donated to the Kickstarter?
I'd probably say it was in the range of maybe 1,000 people. But they probably didn't hit their goals, which was probably much. They had a higher,
Well, I don't know if everybody can see this, but 867 backers.
Okay. Yes, so I'm right. Yeah, they close to that, but it just wasn't what they were. How much was their goal?
Their goal was $665,000, and they only raised $55,000.
And here's the thing: do you think that they'd be targeting that same goal? I personally, with the work that they already have done, they probably could maybe reach maybe 100,000. That's where I'd probably think they're shooting for. Is it already on Kickstarter, the new project, or they're talking about it?
According to Pat, they're talking about putting it on Kickstarter. The new project isn't on there yet, to my knowledge. So I don't know, but that was an image for the proposed game. But I mean, with the low amount of money raised, the low amount of interest, I don't think, in my opinion, could be wrong, but I really doubt that a new Kickstarter, unless the goal is really low, like a $50,000 goal, I don't think they're going to hit it. I just don't think the interest is there that they want to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And personally, if I think they do a Kickstarter, I think their goal would have to be around 100,000. I think that's realistic for them. Whether they get that or not is a different story. And times change. I think, I mean, look at the way, toys are. I think we talked about this before, how the way nostalgia hits. And, nowadays everybody's trying to cash in on nostalgia. Toy companies are making Beast Wars and old G.I. Joe stuff and Turtles and all this other stuff. So, I mean, maybe they're trying to target the fans now that have money and are maybe trying to say, hey, look, kids, I used to play this game, Echo the Dolphin, and who knows? But maybe they're trying to target those guys now, and maybe they can make that money. But for the most part, it's
check
close.
out Big Blue Chapter 2 on Kickstarter. I didn't know there was a Chapter 2. We'll check that out in a minute. But they were planning to put the Big Blue on Android devices, Mac, Windows, Linux, iOS, and Android. So could this actually be? Could Dolphin Quest be the Big Blue in a new form? It was going to be on the Ouya too. Wow. Do you think that this is actually the same game, just revamped?
I don't. I think it's maybe like bits and pieces of work they've done, but I think it's been totally redesigned.
Because I mean, that was supposed to be like his big, his vision that never got finished. That's his Snyderverse, his Snyder cut.
See, and
You think he would
unfortunately,
just,
when you don't get it done quick enough, I mean, these things just change, right? They're constantly trying to change with the times.
oh, that sneaky Chappie McChapster. The Big Blue Chapter 2 is not about a dolphin. It is the second chapter of Big Blue, a graphic novel about the ultimate big boob superheroine. So no, I will not. She's called the Rack of Righteousness, and
That's right up my alley.
it is an adult graphic novel where she uses her giant big blue boobs to smack villains around.
She's Hooterlicious.
The art's not bad considering, but no. You almost had me there, Chappie. It's a good thing I check things before I show them on the screen.
Yeah, it's a good thing I don't have any internet and can't put nothing up because I probably would have fumbled that one.
Evil Knievel says, "Hey Tony, the Catfiz Co-op game reached their goal. Hopefully, thanks to you." Not sure which game we're talking about. Oh, the Catfish one. I know you're talking about. Man, you guys need to really work on your grammar. That co-op fish game. Yeah, I know you're talking about. Hopefully, I haven't checked on it. I gotta check on that. See how that happened. 1 Inch Bicep says sounds like a good one. Yeah, it's pretty good. You guys should see the images. It's amazing. The Big Blue Chapter 2. And that got 86 backers that pledged $3,866. It was funded, completely funded. They got their money.
What are we talking about? The boob superhero lady?
One.
Big Blue too.
So right now, there's only one Kickstarter from Ed Annunziata, and it's the Big Blue one. So unless he's on Indiegogo setting it up right now or hasn't set up,
I mean, only time will tell.
One of Biceps got the book. Hope you enjoyed. There was a German website that actually reviewed the Amico book.
Really?
Evil Knievel says, "Hey Tony, that co-op indie game got funded. Maybe thanks to you." My grammar sucks. Yeah, so it did get funded. That's great. It looked awesome. I look forward to seeing that.
Was that one we did on Mondays?
I think it was one I did on my own. It was a co-op game about a cat and a fish that have to help each other get through like a journey back home type thing. And it's one of those asymmetrical, so the cat can do only certain things and the fish can only do certain things, and it's couch co-op.
Oh, okay. I can't remember if I watched that video or not.
You should be watching every video that this channel puts out. Every one of you. Every video I put out. No matter what. Even if you're not interested
I try
in it.
to. I try to.
Just watch it. So yeah. So if they're going on Kickstarter, I see that as being a double-edged sword. If they raise too much money and get too ambitious, and then next thing you know, it's too good for the Amico, and the Amico gets a super watered down crap version.
Yeah, and see, like I said, if the Amico had if those controllers were like a kind of like a DS, if they could do some fancy stuff on there, there'd still be a reason to have that version. But at this stage, if they really do hit goals on Kickstarter, all I see is just it being a very super watered down version. And at that point, who wants a watered down version? And like you said, Tony, I do differentiate games that were NES or Game Boy, because even the Game Boy games sometimes had a reason to visit those games. And I with my bias and being like, oh, Game Boy games suck, I didn't learn that until much later. But nowadays it really could spell that it could be the kiss of death for the Amico.
Yeah, I think part of the difference though is like Game Boy had good games that were dedicated to the Game Boy.
Right.
Just that like the big popular franchises that they're like, oh well, we could just make a Skyrim port for Game Boy or whatever, right? Those games always sucked.
Well, I mean, like Capcom did really well when you played games like DuckTales 2. Even though it was a watered down port, I think it still handled fairly well on the Game Boy. It was a little different, but at the end of the day, it's still solid. If the Game Boy was all you had, it's a hell of a title to pick up. It wasn't terrible, but I definitely see Dolphin Quest being on like something like PlayStation 5 being like absolutely amazing versus having it on the Amico. It's not going to be very fun.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if that's the only thing you got, then yeah. But if you had them both, you're quick to notice like, no, this is really bad compared to
Right.
the actual version.
Right. And I think a good one to actually make an example of was the game I was talking about earlier, was the Balan's Wonderworld. I think a lot of people, the people who do like it, probably like it better on a I don't know if it's available on Xbox or if it's available on both, but I would assume that those versions are leagues better than the Switch port, because visually the Switch port, especially in handheld mode, I haven't played it yet on docked mode, but the handheld mode, it is rough. The resolution is it's awful. And then when you get up to guys, they're disappearing in front of you because the game just can't handle it. So I definitely see something like that where it's definitely down like the Switch port is definitely watered down, and that experience is probably 10 times better on PlayStation 4 or whatever, Xbox. But yeah, if it's something like that, then it's definitely going to suffer. They hit goals and they make money, then Amico's going to have a big loss. I think people are going to be like, oh, well, I could play this on PlayStation or Xbox, and it's just going to be leagues better. So
Yeah, I definitely see this being a problem. I definitely see them, all the multi, what the hell I'm talking about, multi-platform games are going to be really, really bad for the Amico because they're going to look at it as the lesser version. Wiley says, "What happened to Cats with Swords?" What's her name used to talk about it a lot. No idea. The original trailer they showed off was a version of the game that didn't exist. It was a demo for a proposed game. The new version that I seen people working on didn't look like anything the Amico could handle. It used 3D models. I did reach out to one of the artists. I didn't hear back, and I haven't heard anything about it for a while.
Is that one of the titles they showed in the game reveals?
That was one of the titles shown in the original Gamescom trailer.
Okay. Yeah, there's a few that are missing, right? The runner game that's never been shown again.
Yeah, there's a lot.
What happened to MLB? They're gonna lose that too. It's been a while since we talked about that. It's a shit show moving into 2022.
Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. A lot of weird things going on. Like I said, we had the the LLCs be suspended. That's going to be interesting to see how that affects business. We're going to have to keep an eye out on those.
Speaking
Missing
of all
games.
that, where's the community going to chat about the Amico now that the forum has been taken down or hidden for now?
They're on Atari. They're not on Atari. They're on Facebook now that Atari Age is gone. It's
Oh,
a
yeah, that's
controlled
right.
Facebook in which you have to basically ask for permission to join. They've bet you.
It's an Amico safe space.
Yeah, well, Tommy is one of the admins, from my understanding. But we're going to talk about the great accomplishment by me. I did write a book, and it's kind of a joke. I didn't think anybody was going to buy it. And I definitely didn't think I was going to be on a German website, topfree.de, where they actually did a review of the book.
That's awesome.
So,
a review.
Remember, they reviewed the book. I didn't see any review of DJC's album, so suck it. They do show that's the cover of the book. If you haven't seen it.
Insanity.
It's only in paperback. Yeah. The review reads, Insanity. There's a book in printed form. This is translated from German by Google. It's a book in printed form and only as a paperback about the games in the period from 10/10/2020 to 10/10/2021, i.e. a whole year from the Intellivision Amico console, which has still not been published. What is in there? I have seldom devoured a book like this. Seldom have I been through reading so quickly as here. For example, for $2,125, just under 1,900 euros, a black plastic case for the Amico console with the signatures of Tommy Tallarico, Bill Fisher, Steve Roney, John Alvarado, Slade Simpson, Mike Costco, Mike Dietz, Phil Adam, and Ed Schofield. Of course, a Tony TGD, the Geek Getaway, couldn't do without immortalizing itself on the case and directly on the game console, not just on the book. See cover photo. The Ultimate Intellivision Amico Guidebook, Volume 1, printed in Poland by Amazon Fulfillment, Poland sp.zu Warclaw, consists of only 32 pages. Apparently it's 32 pages, not 26, despite that's what they told me it was, and is written entirely in English by author Tony TGD, who describes himself on the back of the blurb as #1 YouTube content creator for Intellivision Amico. He also has about $2,000 in Amico items issued and continues to wait for his advance content. Here's the content of the book. Now come to the contents of this little booklet. So to the so-called content, in quotes, of the magazine, as already described, it consists of a picture of the auction case from Intellivision Amico and the book title. Page 2 is completely blank. On page 3, as well as 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and 28, the author gave free rein to his creativity. Neither side looks like the other. The text is always in a different place. Example of the text says placeholder page. Conclusion. The Ultimate Intellivision Amico Guidebook, Volume 1 by Tony TGD is by far the only book that produces the content of the Intellivision Amico games as truthfully as it is for the players at home. Unavailable. So if you have the odd amount of €4.74 in your wallet and need some paper, you can get this bestseller on Amazon. Attention, fake statement from 26 pages. In truth, there are a lot more, plus 6 hand counted. Free of charge, order home. Whether you need it, it's up to you. I have it, and I'm curious how it will continue. Until then, I'll just read over this ultimate guide again, because you always find something new. There may be traces of irony in this review.
And he actually, that was one of your buyers.
That's one of my buyers. So I actually sold 8 copies of the book. I'm glad that I know almost every one of the buyers who bought a copy. Chappie says it's more positive than the Amico review. Yeah, what's up, Blinded? Yeah, Carl dipped. We started talking about hot chicks, and then Carl just dipped. He wasn't having it.
He got nervous. He didn't know what to say.
OEB says, OIB says, when you join the Facebook, the first question is, are you a dingaling?
It's a trick question.
Yeah, Blinded. He was here. We were talking. I don't know. Carl just dips. Like, just say, all right, guys, got to go.
Carl always dips. It's his thing. Remember, Carl's mysterious.
Never know when he's going to leave.
That's how he gets the ladies.
That's probably what it was. He probably got a text from a lady who was like, oh, I got to dip, guys. I'm done hanging with these nerds.
He's got to handle his business.
Getting some trim. Fuck that shit. Yeah, but there hasn't been much. I mean, there was supposed to be some shipping information provided by the end of the year. That didn't happen. Unless Tommy's counting his, hey, we finalized the plastics, which is kind of odd for something that was supposed to be ready to go. What do you think about that, Gary?
What's that?
The email that came earlier in December, where he basically said they picked the final plastics for the console, and they were ready to start manufacturing the test units to make sure all the stuff was ready to go.
That was when they first announced that it was in production or whatever?
No, this was after that.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's not really big news. I mean, it's kind of just more of the same thing that trickles out. You can say that, hey, that's another announcement, but we all know it's more of the same. And, I'm feeling bad for guys like Turbo Joe who stuck their foot in their mouth, and they're not playing much of anything at the end of this. Last year. So, didn't come out last year. We all kind of knew the writing was on the wall for that. And we all pretty much know the writing's on the wall for this system to, if it does come out, most likely hit that 10, 20, 22 date. So we've been pretty spot on, haven't we, Tony?
Yeah. Wiley's right. Tommy does say a lot of things. What I found odd was, again, Tommy says a lot of things, and he was adamant they were ready to go. We can get it out by 10/10/20. We can get it out by 10/10/21. We're just waiting on parts. Waiting on parts should not prevent you from having picked out final plastics. That should have been done, right? If you need to do a test run on the molds or whatever, you should be able to do that without final parts. Even if you don't have enough parts, you know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, we're waiting on circuit boards or whatever, right? We're waiting on screens for the controllers. But if you have 100, right, you don't need 10,000 to do a test run. You should have the final plastics picked out, test run done. You're just waiting to procure the amount of parts you need for a total full run, which is what we were led to believe. But again, now we're finding out that we're even further behind than what we thought. Yeah, see, show says, yeah, who the hell talks about getting plastics and tooling started, sorted out? It's someone with nothing else to talk about. Someone with uh, that's banking on the fact that people don't know that this is something that you don't brag about. That you know,
Well, I mean,
trying to get those investors tricked.
Atari did it with the VCS, didn't they?
I think they did.
But it was weird. It was weird and odd when they did it. So it's just one of those things. You're right. It's like nobody really, talks about it. It's just, I guess it's one of those, small kind of business type things, I guess, that these, these companies are doing these days. I guess it just doesn't make any sense to any of us with a brain. But you got to keep the fans interested in something when you have nothing.
Yeah, Tommy Amico says, so scary when Tony said he thinks his shell was 3D printed. Yeah, if they just picked out final plastics, does that mean that my shell might be a different plastic than the final retail version?
Oh, most likely. You probably wouldn't even be able to switch your shell over to an actual, the final product. I have a feeling that's exactly what's going to happen. Now, are you sure it's 3D printed, or is it just like it doesn't? Does it really not seem like a high quality plastic? I mean, because you can definitely, even on the top of the line 3D printed stuff, you can still tell that it's 3D printed.
I'm holding it right now. It looks like decent plastic. I mean, it doesn't feel like I've never held a 3D printed thing.
Yeah, 3D printed stuff has it's like, I guess, what is it? Porous would be the right word. There's definitely a quality about it that you definitely can tell that it's 3D printed. And I've held some top of the line 3D printed stuff. It just has a very cheap look to it, I guess. Even though some 3D printed stuff's really good, it's still it's not like a quality plastic. It's hard to describe.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's like two plastics. The base, the bottom part,
right,
is like a duller plastic. Then it has a shiny plastic ring on the top, and then the dull plastic in the middle.
But if you look at where the seams would be, if or does it? Oh, I'm trying to think of what the damn thing looks like and how you could see like an edge of the plastic.
No, well, like where the power is supposed to go, there's no edges; it's all smooth.
Because I want to, from the pictures that I seen, it looked like it was a quality plastic. It didn't look like it was a 3D printed item, and that would have been, I think, quite expensive for them to make something that big 3D printed, because that's pretty sizable. Usually, when your 3D printed stuff is a lot smaller, you're talking about a much bigger 3D printer, much better quality, but it still would have that 3D print quality.
Yeah, and it does not have. There's not screws in there. They're like the hell, man, like almost bolts that's holding it together. You know what? Inside the holes, it does look like there's, like it might be 3D printed, or it's just snapped together by something.
It's got like grooves.
Well, it's got like a gray, really dull gray.
Because basically the 3D printer has that layered look. That's what I guess what I'm trying to describe. Where it's the layers is what gives it that not like a quality plastic look.
Well, what I'm saying is the outside has a quality look, right? But when looking in the holes, it looks all shitty.
Yeah, and I don't think you can achieve that smooth look because most 3D printed stuff, like I said, has layers, and you can usually tell that it doesn't look like a mold, like it was injection molded or whatever. That it's kind of all one smooth piece. And that, to me, when I seen the picture of the shell, looks like it was like injection molded or whatever.
Now I want to take it apart. I think there's a message inside from one of the interns. Show says Atari did it. It was weird too. Atari was like, "Hey guys, look at this wood grain shell being made. It was obnoxious, but hey, Atari VCS is a product now. It's true." One of bicep says your shell is a misfit toy. Are there any seams in the plastic? No, it doesn't look like there's any. But I mean, there's like a rubber piece. There is the, the rubber feet on it on the bottom, and there's also the bar for the lights. The clear plastic for where the lights are supposed to be on the inside. I don't know. Maybe I just have the only actual Amico. Evil Knievel says, lick that mold. No, it's a little dusty. It's been sitting in the house.
Does it have the did they do like Nintendo and spray the cartridges with the the kitty stuff where you're not when you lick it you don't want to lick more of it or put it in your mouth?
Maybe
the kid proof. That's what they got. A kid
quality prototype that they made, and we're like, hey, fuck it, we'll auction off the prototype. It'd be interesting to see a finalized one and see if there are different sizes. If mine is bigger, mine is probably bigger. I probably have the biggest Amico. Tommy Amico says it'll taste like cornhole. Wiley says if the Amico doesn't come out, that shell will be worth something. Actually, because it has my signature on it, it is already priceless. People said I was stupid for signing my name on it, but John Alvarado has agreed that it is making it more interesting, and it really cements the fact that this is the actual shell. Like, if I ever sell this or someone steals it, my signature's on it, so you'll know that this is the infamous Tony TGD shell.
Right.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Gary, when I stop talking, you're supposed to fill in the space.
Oh, sorry, I must have hit the mute.
Well, I got up to put the show back away on its place of prominence. It's right in the middle of my house. As soon as you walk in, there's lights. It's like a column, like a Roman column, with the Amico shell sitting on it. Around it in a ring are the 8 pack-in titles, spotlights, curtain.
In 40 years, that will be on Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah. Could you imagine that one day on Antiques Roadshow? You're just watching.
When Tony's dead, when Tony's dead and gone, and they've what do they call that when they you bring somebody to your house after, when the estate sale, it's gone through an estate sale and somebody has it and it goes from person to person to person, in like 80 years it'll be on Antiques Roadshow worth like $2 million.
What I want to happen is years from now, after it fails, the Amico fails, fades into obscurity, I die, someone finds the shell and assumes that my name is just like everyone else's, and because mine is a different color, like I'm the most important one in the middle, And then the history books will write that I was part of the Intellivision Amico team. So
The ultimate troll move.
yeah, as history gets rewritten, they'll be like, "Hey, this console that never got launched, started by Tony TGD and all these other names."
Well,
that
you
are
would
on
be the most interesting name on there because you'd be the hardest one to
track down.
yes, and say, well, what the fuck was this guy a part of?
Yeah, there'll be YouTube videos in the future. Who was Tony TGD? The only information we have is this old Amico shell with his signature on it. Apparently, he was friends with Phil Adam, John Alvarado, Tommy Tellerico. All their names appear on the console with him.
That would be funny.
Tommy Amico says, "Can I have your watch when you are dead?" Classic line from Three Amigos. One of my favorite movies. I have it on Blu-ray. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be a Tiger King documentary. Everybody's saying that there's going to be a documentary and all kind of things about the Amico after it's said and done, and people are going to be talking about it. I think a year from now, we're a year from launch, I should say, launch or bankruptcy, whatever comes first. That's going to be it. No one's going to talk about it. There's going to be no looking back or Matt McMuscles, what happened type thing. No one's going to care. It's a blip on the radar.
No, it's the here and now because I think all that stuff's being done now, and yeah, nobody's gonna care in 20 years from now, unless it becomes this insane. I mean, like the only thing I could really see happening is that the Amico launches, it does well, and maybe that jump starts the Amico too. But that's asking for a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the only way there's going to be a documentary is if Tommy attacks Pat and Ian and like beats them in the street or something, or like Relic goes crazy and like tries to attack somebody he thinks is a critic. Other than that, it has to be tied to a really traumatic, crime or something. If everything's on the level, if there's no embezzlement, if there's no tax evasion or fraud or any kind of shenanigans, if it's just a shitty product that was mishandled, it'll just go down as a blip on the radar that no one cares about.
Do you think
Tommy has an online meltdown? Even then, it'll just be a little like thing in Tommy's like Wikipedia page. He tried to launch a console, had a meltdown, and no one will really care.
Yeah, do you think Carl would do the documentary? Carl Jobst.
Oh, I thought you meant Carl, our Carl.
No, not our Carl. The Carl exposing water right now. He'll be the one to expose if there's an embezzlement.
Carl with a K
scheme. Yes.
Well, I do know that both Carl Jobst and Matt McMuscles will happen. They both have expressed interest in the story, but I do have my doubts whether or not they'll actually cover it because it is so niche, so like uninteresting.
I mean, it can get really interesting fast.
Yeah. There's always a what if. This year could actually launch, like, depending on what happens.
Part of me kind of wants to see that story, like the true Hollywood story of Tommy Tellerico.
What if Soldier Boy buys Intellivision? I don't think Tommy would ever sell it.
That could be the best thing that ever happened to Intellivision. That's not saying much.
Yeah, see, Blinded Braille's with me on this. He says there will never be an Amico documentary unless Tommy kills someone, then maybe.
He bludgeoned him with an Amico.
Josh says, what's going on with the Amico now? Nothing. That's the problem. There's really nothing. They slowed down. They were pumping out videos and then suddenly just stopped. What was it, like 4 deep dives?
Yeah, they got the physical media out, the deep dives.
Well, they only did what? They did Tank Battle.
Shark.
Shark.
I can't remember the third one.
Astro Smash, no?
Did they really need to do a deep dive on Astro Smash?
They didn't need to, but they did, right? Isn't that what they did?
I don't know. If they did it on Astro Smash, that's probably why I can't think of the third one. And if they did, that's awful. Did they need to do a deep dive? No. They've done enough deep diving on fucking Astro Smash. I feel like I practically played the game already.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm like almost 100% sure it was a deep dive on Astro Smash. And then they did the sneak peek for the UI. A missile command. So it was 4 of them. Yeah, missile command, Shark, Astro Smash, and tank battle.
And Patnian completely obliterated
boom,
that.
Boom, boom. And then they just stopped. 10 days ago, they did the UI, and then they just stopped.
So again, we beat Patney into the punch on the deep dive on it, or our deep dive on the UI, right? They came out with that video, I think, a week after we did ours. A couple weeks.
But they were supposed to have one every week. That's what I'm saying. Like they started off Tank, fucked that up. Then they went to Astro Smash, Shark. They were doing pretty good. Hit Missile Command, hit the UI, and then just stopped.
I think Tommy's starting to listen to people. I think they're trying to tell him to pump the brakes a little bit.
So then the question is, when do you think they're going to resume the deep dives?
March.
Damn.
I think you're going to get a solid bit of information around. Well, here's the thing. If they can, they got to go and definitely have this thing into production next month or this month. If they can do it this month, then you might see something trickle out in February. Otherwise, I don't think you'll see anything until like late March, April, because I think that's going to be, they have to get it. They literally have to be in production by April, right? April. So you got May, June, July, August, September, October, 5, 6. Yeah. So that you're going to see it late March, early April, because it has to be in production. They have to start their marketing. And if that's the case, 10/10/2022 is the date. It has to be. There is no ways around this. It has to be.
Yeah. Well, the poll results were Battle Tank, Astro Smash, Missile Command, Shark. Finnegan Fox is the next deep dive on the schedule. Then we're going to have Moon Patrol, Pool, Dyna Blasters, Space Strikers, Evil Knievel, Rigid Force, and then Emoji Charades.
Oh, God. Do we really need a deep dive on a game that's already out?
On 2 games that are already out. Well, 3.
There you go.
4 games. 4 games.
And I'd say the most popular one out of the list, though, is Finnegan Fox, right? You'd agree with me on that?
Yeah, I would say so. But I'm saying you already have Evil Knievel's already out. Rigid Force Redux is already out. Emoji Charades is already out. And then Finnegan Fox is already out as Fox and Forest. So 4 of the games are already out in some form. But like I said, it was supposed to be one a week. And then nothing happened. Like after the 4th video, it was just turned off the faucet again.
You know, it's pretty sad. I think Betty White was really looking forward to her Amico.
Tommy Amico keeps saying Coney Tony. Amico will get a YouTube documentary though. It might. Tank, a good name. They should run with that. They should. Ninja Kitty says they shot all those deep dives on the same day. Doing more would require going into work more than once a month. This is true. I just assumed that they shot a bunch of them, like 6 more on that same day. John Alvarado had
of course they did
50 or 60 mustache jokes.
Yeah, they got them all done in one go.
Tommy Amico says, what if there's an Amico cult mass deletion? I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. No Jonestown for the Amico.
Tommy, Jim Jones,
Yeah,
Telemico.
Tommy Uemiko says, "Lol, lazy Tommy couldn't refix his hair and put a different shirt on. You think he had TV experience? You would think they would have had like 6 or 7 shirts with him, make it look like it was different days that they shot that. Attention to
Yeah,
detail is not their strong suit.
yeah. I guess we'll know when the next deep dives hit when he's still wearing the same stuff. We'll know.
Josh says he wants us to know that Brock won the title on Raw. Ridiculous. Brock Lesnar should not be the world champion unless he's going to be a full-time wrestler again. 1-inch biceps, I agree. Just when you think Tommy's listening, he unleashes more greatness.
That's our Tom.
Tommy Miko says it would be so fucking funny if he has the same shirt on in Alvarado 2 for like 6 straight months. Then we find out that he completely escaped the country. Yeah, that would be funny if we just keep seeing videos come out and they're wearing the same clothes. They're all scheduled. Like he scheduled like 6 or 7 videos weeks apart. And it turns out they haven't been in the country for a while. They're on vacation somewhere. Evil Knievel says, invite Tommy O in on the live chat. Not today. Josh says, just remember the Geek Getaway is an award-winning show. That's right. We did win the Fandom Award for Best Video Game Podcast. So just remember that. Blinder Braille says they will delay it before March. That's my bet. Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be out first quarter 2022. So that means they would have had to been in production like last month because they have off like what, almost all of January or February for Chinese New Year.
January, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, if there were any hopes of getting anything out, they should have already had.
It's not happening.
Shit done. I mean, they just picked out Final Plastics for God's sake.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it has to go into production at the end of March, early April for this thing to come out in October. And if we're not, I've stressed this too many times now. If it's not, and we're into like June talking about whether they're going into production, this thing ain't coming out at all.
Ninja Kitty says, dude, the audio in those videos are terrible. You would think an audio expert would shoot videos with no echoes and where the sound levels don't jump up and down. Not just the Tommy being an audio guy, but they hired an actual film editor guy who has experience shooting videos and producing videos and editing videos. Unless that guy's not actually doing anything, and unless they're just shooting the videos themselves, you know, with a camera on a tripod, and Tommy's like, fuck it, I'm not paying the extra for the guy to come in for this. It makes no sense that it's having audio issues. It has, sometimes it's a little fuzzy. It's not focused. The focus is off on some of the shots. Dana Carvey as Ian Ferguson, I would pay to see that. Yeah.
He's a dinosaur now. My favorite role with him was Moving with Richard Pryor. That was fantastic, where he played he had the 12 personalities.
Yeah, that was pretty good movie. One of his biceps says, Tony, I'm good friends with that film editor guy. Lighten up on him. All right, Tommy. Tommy's good friends with everybody. I agree with Wiley here. He says, I think a family should do a deep dive. It is like Intellivision puts no effort into anything. I think Intellivision is incompetent like me. No, you're not incompetent, Wiley. Incompetent people don't recognize they're incompetent. Yeah, I think the best bet or the best thing to do would just, like I said, put the console in a room, say, we invited 10 families to try the Intellivision Amico, and this is what happened. And then, hidden camera, quote unquote, hidden camera footage of them going in the room, playing the game, picking it up. Look how easy it is. They just picked it up and played it. Obviously, it would all be fake. Obviously, it would all be, you know, they would be told beforehand how to fucking work the shit because, you know, commercials are all fake anyway. But I think that would be the best way to kind of present the product to make it look, you know, the way they're trying to make it look. Hire me, Tommy. Have you seen? I'm fucking marketing genius. This is why I should have been the CEO. I mean, you did lose the bet. You did change the rules, and then you lost the bet again. Then you changed the rules again, and you still lost the bet. I mean, just make me the fucking CEO. I'll take over. I'll fix this whole shit show.
I don't even think you could fix this shit show.
I could fix this shit. I mean, when I say fix, I just mean turn a profit and, you know, not actually make a good product. Just take what we got here and make it appear to be something that people want.
You'd have to rebrand it first.
We got it. We got the Prism name, remember? I got the Prism name in my back pocket. See, I'm always one step ahead, Gary.
That you are.
Seriously, the commercials for Paranormal Activity 1 was just people in the crowd getting scared. Yeah, exactly. You know, you got to know what your product is, who you're trying to sell it to, how to present it to those people. And, you know, I know the Amico fans will tell me I'm full of shit and, you know, Tommy's doing the awesomest job ever. But the numbers on the videos don't lie. The comments on the videos don't lie. The whole idea of all these people making anti-Amico style videos and a whole Reddit where people are very critical of everything. You know, that doesn't lie. That tells a story. You're getting no traction. You get no tweets. You get no fucking social media interaction. Tommy tweets out that they're doing a video and he gets like fucking 10 likes. The official Intellivision Twitter account has like 6,000 people following it.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough.
I mean, I don't know. When you go on a channel like mine, you know, remember Nick Richards came on this channel and he got more views on this channel than on Retro Bros channel, and he has like 10 times as many subscribers, which is ridiculous. Plus, he had Tommy and everybody promoting that fucking interview. So that should just tell you the amount of reach that they don't have. And I'm not doing it to like take a shot at Retro Bro. He's cool. We're fine and everything. I'm just trying to show you that, you know, Tommy pushing the product, it's not doing that. It's not helping. OEB Pete, his channel's not blowing up. It was not selling Amigos. It was not getting the product and information out there in a way that was helpful to everybody. He's trying to sell things in a 1990s way, and this is 2021.
Yep. This motherfucker sped.
You know, yeah, it's classy Pete now. Yeah, I mean, Pete literally changed his channel name. You guys don't know how to handle trolls. You don't know how to handle criticism. You don't know how to market the thing you have.
I mean, you just don't, and it's so simple. You just don't acknowledge it. And that was, I think, a part of the problem was that, you know, people didn't want to just let it go. They had their egos.
Part of it is he's not as slick as he thinks it is. He is. That's bottom line.
Right.
You know, when someone criticizes, you don't fucking. If I said, hey, if someone goes, hey Tony, your show's shitty, right? You have shitty audio. It's a shit show. No one likes it. I'd be like, you know what? You're right. I do have really crappy audio, and I should probably look into working on it. Thank you for reminding me. I've been meaning to get a new microphone. No, Tommy would be like, fuck you. I'm the best fucking audio guy ever, and you don't need to fucking watch my channel and ban from the fucking channel. That doesn't help. Banning people from fucking Amico official channel does not make them disappear. Those people just get mad and they'll go other places to talk shit about your console.
Right.
This is not 1990. You're not protected. You're not isolated. The internet is not a small, pool anymore. It is a giant ocean, and you are fucking drowning in it. Like I said, it can be turned around. Like everything can be fixed. Every I mean, unless you're like a pedo or a serial killer or into some really weird shit, like you can be fixed. You just have to know how to handle it. You have to identify the problem, and then you have to identify a solution that gets you what you want to your goal. Tommy does not do that. He just fucking reacts. He yells. He fucking he thinks that putting on this false bravado is somehow going to help his product. It doesn't.
But
I know.
he's a victim, Tony. He's a victim.
Yeah, but I'm saying I know like people like Saggy are gassing him up. Sorry. Again, I like Saggy. We're friends, but you saying, "Oh, I liked his attitude and his attitude's fine." You're not looking at the bigger picture. There's more people that don't like his attitude than do like his attitude. There's more people that are not like you, Saggy, than there are people that are like you. That's what you need to realize.
And the thing is it's the attitude in certain situations would be it would be different. It's commendable when you're the underdog and you're fighting the good fight. When you haven't bullshitted for a few years, right? I mean, that's the big thing. It's like, had circumstances been different, it might have been okay, but the way he went about it was wrong in every way.
Yeah, Tommy says another part of the problem is the rape games thing. I would be like, yeah, audio sucks, so sorry, I'm on drugs. Yeah, like I said, one of the solutions and one of the big solutions for Intellivision Amico to save the product, because that's the goal. The goal is not to save Tommy's reputation or his perception to the general public. The goal is to save the Amico, right? So one of those things would be to remove Tommy from all public-facing, media.
I mean, we said this a year ago.
Yeah, get him off of social media, get him out of the videos, get him off of the Reddits and the Facebooks and everything. Complete. You go sit in the corner. We put baby in the corner because you're fucking it up. If you want to save the product, that's what you got to do. You think you're helping, and people have told you, like your fans and people who gas you up and want to be friends with the famous guy. They're telling you these things, that you're doing a good job, but you're not. Trust me. As someone from the outside who doesn't really give a shit whether you fail or succeed, has no investment in this emotionally, I'm telling you, you're not helping. You're hurting. This is 2021, where people are very sensitive. 2022 now. Fuck. It's 2022.
Get with the program, Tony.
Yeah, I know. Like it wasn't New Year's yesterday, right? It's 2022. And people are very different from what he's used to. It's like I almost feel like Tommy was asleep. Like he's Rip Van Winkle. He was asleep for like 30 years, and he's still like fucking this
cryogenically frozen for 10 years.
Yeah, this like 1992 individual that just woke up one day and he's like, "What the fuck's going on?"
He was Walt Disney'd.
Yeah, it's like you ever see that movie Kicking It Old School?
Yeah,
that's exactly how I feel. Like he's still stuck in 1990. He just can't wrap his head around this 2022 world. One Inch Bicep says, "How much would it take to make Tony an Amico shill?" I told you it would take $50,000 a year salary plus benefits, and I will sell the fuck out. I'm telling you now, because with that kind of money, I would not have to go to a regular job. I could do YouTube full time, and I just really wouldn't talk about the Amico. I just yeah, it's great, it's fucking awesome.
How many years did you say?
Full time, $50,000 a year for at least a 10-year.
That's what I'm asking. Yeah, 10 years. It's a lot of dough.
Blind and Braille says, "How can anyone believe they would make rape games?" No one believes that, but there are stupid people that'll just assume that Tommy must be telling the truth.
I mean, it came out of his mouth. It must be true.
Yeah. Amico, not even mainstream yet. Things can change if they actually consult with professionals. Yeah. That's the problem. They did. Here's the problem. Here's the really interesting thing. They consulted with professionals. There was a professional PR company called Zebra Partners. They helped launch the Wii. The people that are on the team used to work for Nintendo. They helped launch the Wii. They have mainstream experience. They sat down with Tommy and his team and outlined a plan for PR for the Amico.
They need to show like the restaurant boss. They need a guy to come in like that.
Yeah. What I'm saying is they outlined the plan for them, right? And Tommy, in his infinite wisdom, took their plan, right? Remember, now this is where the speculation comes in, because I know they had talks. So he took the plan that they gave him, right? He then let Zebra Partners go. We don't need you no more. We got your plan. And then they didn't use the plan correctly, or when things didn't go exactly the way that you assumed, because you're always going to be thrown wrenches into your plans, right? He didn't know how to pivot. He was now like, well, the people who made the plan are gone, and you don't know how to pivot away from the plan, so you just keep fumbling through this plan as shit is not working.
Can we get some of those guys to come on the show, Tony?
I don't know. I think some of that's covered in NDA stuff. Ninja Kitty says, remember when you did the Nick Richards interview and people thought it was a nice small step forward, only for Tommy to open his mouth a day later and bring it back down? Yeah, I do. That's what I'm saying. Nick came on. He was very honest. Or at least we think he was. I mean, we don't know. He could have been lying out of his ass. Who knows? Right? But everyone bought it. It was a believable interview. Everybody was like, well, we can give him another chance. Let's reset. Let's bygones be bygones. Start all over. See what they got coming. And then a day later, Tommy was running around the office putting cameras in people's face.
One step forward, 3 steps back.
What if they put Tommy in Hannibal Lecter's restraints for all Amico videos from now on? I mean, the only way really is if you just went full Tommy. Just let him go full Tommy, and then John Alvarado hits him with a hammer or something in every video.
Like a Looney Tunes.
Yeah, Tommy's the Noid. You gotta avoid the Noid. Make him an anti-mascot, like Domino's used to do with the Noid. Yeah, I did watch those unboxings. They were fantastic. They were the greatest unboxing videos. Him laughing, Turbo Joe laughing in everyone's face was glorious. He owned us. He owned us haters. Yeah, I'm not even asking for a parking spot. I don't drive, so I don't need a parking spot. They just drop me off in the front of the building. Hell, I will fucking remote. I will not even have to move. I'll just fucking have a meeting, remote Zoom meetings. Because I do have a plan. I'm not going to reveal it because then I'd be giving away for free. I mean, you hire me. I got a plan. I could fix this. 3 months, everyone will be like, fuck, I can't wait till this thing comes out. It's fantastic. Great job, Tony. But you know what part of the problem is, Gary? If he went to anybody, if he went to a professional, he went to somebody for help, he would have to admit that. He would have to be like, give credit to so-and-so for fixing this shit show that I made. And he doesn't want anyone else to have credit.
No, he's got too much pride. Too much ego. That's a big reason why this thing's failing right now. This is all there is to it. I mean, I said all there needed to be was a really sincere apology and then just a cut, fade to black. Don't be caught saying it. Just take yourself out of the equation. Apologize. Say you handled this wrong. Be the bigger man and then just vanish. Say, okay, I'm going to let somebody else take over. I've handled this completely wrong. We're going to try to, set the record straight. And it just never happened. It kind of was, we were almost there. We almost got there. But that ego got right back in the way.
Yeah. Blind Braille says only 50,000, make 70. Yeah. I make less than 50,000 now. So 50,000 would be an upgrade for me. Kitchen Nightmare, but with video game companies, you're onto something. There's not enough.
Yeah.
Maybe with developers, like Kitchen Nightmare with developers, but not actual video game companies. Because how many are there?
Yeah, we just need another Gordon Ramsay coming in and tell Tommy he's an asshole.
Wiley says, I asked Tommy about having an alternate face textile push buttons controller for people who have difficulty using touchscreens. He said no. What are your favorite controllers? Yeah, his controller is not going away. My favorite controller, personally, is the Super Nintendo controller. I don't know if it's nostalgia, the simplicity. It fits in your hand.
It's
It
one of the
doesn't
best
have
designed controllers ever.
yeah. It doesn't have the extra buttons like a PlayStation controller. Because it only has two on the top, two shoulder buttons. That's
Have
all
you
you
ever
need.
have you ever felt the Wii retro controller where it was like the Super Nintendo controller, but they added those analog sticks? That felt really good.
No, I've never tried it. I didn't have a Wii, so
I've never used. I have that controller, but I've never used that controller because I found it in a I found it at, like, the flea market or something, but I never got a chance to use it. But it was very comfortable. Like, I liked it because like you said, that Super Nintendo controller is just it's a great designed controller, right? I mean, that's why companies like 8-Bit Dough are still making controllers like that to this day because it's that dog bone feel with the way those four buttons are placed and the shoulder. It's just a great controller. But
yeah.
I was gonna say one thing. When's the last time we've checked on can you still pre-order the Amico on like GameStop and stuff?
I think you can on GameStop. I know on GameStop Canada they claimed it was sold out. On regular GameStop, I believe so. In the US, my second favorite controller is the PlayStation 5. Not a lot of games utilize all the features in it, obviously, because they never do. But the haptic feedback on that is fucking fantastic. Uh, the spring-loaded trigger buttons, they can make them tight. So like you're shooting a gun, it feels like you're pulling a trigger. Feels good. It's got the built-in lights. It's got the touchpad, analog sticks, 64 direction analog sticks. So I mean, I'm not sure what the Amico is bringing to the table other than a static picture on a fucking touchscreen that no one cares about.
Yeah, we were duped.
We were. Yeah, the Amico is still for pre-order. It says release date 3/31/2022.
3/31. That's a common. I think March and December are the most common like placeholder dates ever.
You can get an Atari VCS for only $349.
Ugh.
That's the all-in-one. For $299, it's just the base.
Sure, if I want a door stopper.
The hell is this? Oh, it's the Tommy's horse video. They got videos now on GameStop.
You got videos?
Yeah, so like when you go to GameStop, you know how it has the pictures of the console?
Mm-hmm.
But now they have links to the video, so you can play the controller horse video. The one where they beat the shit out of the controller. Skiing,
Okay, yeah.
Shark, Farkle, Cornhole. It's weird. I've never seen this
Farkle.
before. They got two videos and then they got a bunch of pictures.
Well, this is it. This has got to be the year of Amico. If it's not, then it's the year of someone's going to jail.
I don't think anybody's going to jail.
I don't know. Something's got to happen. Something's got to give.
Something's going to break. It's going to be the greatest system ever. You're going to be upset, Gary, that you don't have an Amico. When all your friends are playing Amico and you don't have one, you're going to be so upset. That's what Tommy told me.
Well, luckily
Don't tell Carl that The Rock can save Amico.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't have any friends.
Tommy gonna Tommy, yeah. Art Bell says Google search term searches for Amico must be tiny, flatlined since 2020. I haven't even looked at that. I should look at Google Trends. What do you think, Gary? You think Google Trends are going to be spiked? Everyone's looking up Amico?
No.
riveting commentary, Gary. You keep us on the edge of our seats.
I don't know what else to say about this disaster.
Well, sometimes when I'm on different screens and I'm trying to look stuff up, I throw you a question. That's for you to just keep talking until I come back. You would think after almost a year of doing this, we would have this down. But
I'm not quick on my feet like that, though. That's why I'm the boring white guy.
Tommy Amico says, Jay Aller didn't think he could fix it, but you do. No. I don't think I could fix the console. I don't think I could fix the product. I don't think I can improve on what they have. But I do think that I can sell what they have. I can make people think, I could shine that turd real pretty and dupe a lot of people into buying it, and we would run off before they realize, that we sold them snake oil.
Yeah,
I
that's a
agree
good
with
point.
Biceps. No apology from Tommy is going to be good enough. They'll just ignore it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, at this stage in the game, they can't. There's nothing they could do. But, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, it's a different story. They just really, they came out of the gate firing, but. What's that?
I think an apology would. Now, here's the thing. Like people got to realize it is very, very, very much about optics and not if anyone actually cares, right? You just have to have more people believe it or see it in a positive way than people see it in a negative way. So even if someone like me or Gary or Carl's like he's full of shit, we don't believe him, and Pat's like he's full of shit. As long as enough people are like, oh no, he's sincere. We see that he's stepping aside.
Right, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters. When the actual quote unquote audience for the target audience sees the videos of him stepping aside without context, they're just like, oh, look at how humble he is, and he knows that he can't do it, and he's got to step aside and let someone else handle it. That's all that matters. In the grand scheme of things, none of this matters.
Yeah, people love a redemption story.
Yeah, my videos don't matter. Pat's videos don't matter. Bro's videos, Saggy's videos, Pete's videos, none of that matters. In trying to turn this around, all you got to do is one slick thing, couple slick moves. It's like chess.
At the end of the day, you still got to have a product.
Good God, Tony does have a Wii. Are you Tommy in disguise? Because Tommy actually said that I can't be a real journalist unless I have all video game consoles. So I don't have an Xbox yet. So I'm not a real journalist. I don't have the new Series X. I don't have a Wii. Sidekick Max has a Wii. It's in his closet somewhere. But I never actually played it. I might have played it maybe once when he first got it, but I don't think I've ever really played it. Talking Teacher says DualSense is a nice controller. Yeah, Tommy has too much pride to admit he was wrong. He wasn't wrong. You were wrong. Yeah, the PS5 triggers are amazing. They're fucking fantastic. How could there be reviews on Amazon Canada if the console's not out? Yeah, SNES-tastic and Retro Bro love the Amico soccer game. To me, it looks like a mess. Yeah, I agree. I actually joked that I thought that maybe Tommy showed Retro Bro a different game, and he was actually commenting on something else. And then Tommy slicked him and showed us that crappy soccer stuff because that was not amazing. It was not mind-blowing. I don't. Maybe Tommy told them, and again, this is speculation, but maybe he showed them and was like, "Hey, don't worry, we're going to improve it. Trust me, we're going to show a better version," and they didn't.
Yeah, we clearly didn't watch the same footage.
Well, I watched the footage. I can't believe that's the footage that he thinks was amazing.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And clearly we didn't see the same footage as they seen, because how the hell is that fantastic?
Evil Knievel says Gary's going to jail. It's going to Tommy jail.
I'm going to jail. I'm not pass and go. I'm not collecting my Amico.
What's up, Original Seed? Potion Sword Run says that he's gonna scalp Amigos and buy a house. Why? Why scalp Amigos? Just buy enough of them and you could build a house out of Amigos. It'll be cheaper, more durable, waterproof because it's made out of plastic.
Has lights.
Do you think there's any Amico Rule 34 porn yet? No. And I said this as a joke when the Amico first came out. I said, when the PlayStation was announced, right away, within like minutes, when they showed what the console looked like, within minutes, they already had like PS5 Chan. The Xbox came out, they already had like Xbox Chan. The Amico came out, no one was drawing porn of the Amico. There was like no one cared. Porn artists didn't even give a shit to like draw porn of the Amico. That's how low it registers on everybody's fucking radar. Wiley says, I wonder why Tommy's wife does not come to the events. Do you think she has no interest in the Amico and thinks it's rubbish? Or is she too busy playing Nintendo Switch? I think she was at the events. I could have swore I saw her in one of the pictures, like in the background, standing around. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't like talking on camera. Maybe she doesn't like interacting with people. I couldn't say. I don't want to speculate.
Maybe she's embarrassed to be. I'm not even going to say it.
Like I said, I don't want to speculate. I mean, a lot of times, you know, your wife or your boyfriend or your husband or your significant other or your whatever it is that they call people in 2022. Sometimes they don't want to be involved in your shit. They're just like, hey, that's your job. You do your stuff. I'm gonna do my stuff, and I'll see you after work. 56K wondering who would have thought Ding Dongs was the breaking point with Atari Age. No, you misinformed, gatekeeping, communist gamer. It was dingalings, not ding
Dingaling, ding.
Blind Braille says Ratchet was way more useful for gameplay. Astro was just a tech demo. The triggers and Ratchet actually help you in gameplay. I haven't played the Ratchet yet. I did look at it. I thought it was good. One Inch Bicep says, damn it, I need a 3DO. Blind Braille says, I wish Xbox added adaptive triggers because it would be useful for certain games. He says Miles was pretty weak. I agree.
Are they really like
Miles the same? Or maybe they were not memorable to me when it comes to the controller. Good game though. I haven't played the other two.
Are those really like that great though? The triggers, are they really like the make or break for you?
They're not make or break, but they are good when they're utilized because, like I said, they have a spring in them.
Mm-hmm.
And the game can tell the controller to tighten the spring to make it harder. So like, let's say your guy's pushing a wall, right? And usually they're like, push the trigger button, and the guy pushes the wall, and you're just pushing the trigger, and there's nothing, like no feedback. In this, while you're pushing the wall, the trigger might get harder. So you're like, so you're actually struggling to push the wall. So you're like immersed into the gameplay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And like I said, it feels good. Like it feels like it's actually like pushing against you. Like there's tension there.
I wonder what kind of wear and tear that's going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When the future of it gets better.
So.
Right. When it finally does get utilized, I think here in the next couple of years, I wonder what kind of wear and tear that's going to cause on those controllers.
Tommy Amico says low. What about when Finnegan Fox says press A? Well, Tommy said, we're not Tommy. John Alvarado said that on the controller, it's a giant A button on the screen when the game starts up. It's not just because it's green and it's an A, just like the Xbox one, doesn't mean that was an Xbox demo that they were showing. It's the exact same button that's going to show up on the screen when you play it.
I think they're just trying to hit like familiarity with the like you see it and you're like, oh yeah, this just seems so familiar, you know. I still think they could have went with a different color, it wouldn't have been compared to the whole Xbox thing, but
This is actually a really good idea. I never thought of it. No Call, No Show says TT should sell the Amigos as non-violent games to be used in prisons. Those controllers are durable. He could rake in the money. Yeah, I mean that could you imagine that? Sell it to the prison system as a recreational item for prisoners that won't break, has family-friendly games so they can't get violent, and unless one of the inmates beats another inmate with a Amico controller, shouldn't have a problem.
Farco would be the game, man. Farco would be the
You
go-to.
know what? I don't think it would work because I think prisons don't want inmates to be playing cornhole with each other. That is a big problem in prison. So, Art Bell says Vito used to be into this story. Did he give a huge shrug? Atari and the Switch can crush Amico like a bug at 250. They already have. Vito's been busy ever since he went on that little publicity tour after his incident. I think he still pops in. He's still interested a little bit every once in a while. But I mean, nothing really exciting has happened to really get him to come on
Yeah,
down.
I tried, guys. I tried to sway him last night, but he wasn't budging.
Tommy Umiko is reciting lines from the famous song by what the hell's his name? The guy who sings Johnny Be Good.
Chuck Berry.
Yeah, Chuck Berry, the famous Chuck Berry, My Dingaling. One of the greatest songs ever. One Inch Biceps agrees. Astro Playroom is a good demo. It is. It's fun. It's actually pretty fun too. For being a demo, it's a really fun game. They have little tiger handhelds in prison, do they? For real? I know that they built a whole prison gaming system. There actually is a system that they were issuing inmates in a prison. There was a video that popped up on my YouTube feed about it. Can't remember what it was. It was like some really weird, like knockoff console thing.
The game station.
Yeah, One Inch Biceps. You probably saw the same video I saw. Don't drop the Amico controller in the shower. It does look like a bar of soap. I was told it is about the same size. Potion Sword Run said they're already doing hard time. Now they have to play the Amico.
Yeah, if you think about it, they can put the Amico controller in a sock and beat someone.
Yeah, ooh. So I got the Google Trends. Let's take a quick look. I forgot all about it, but let's take a quick look at what's going on here for the Intellivision Amico. So as you can see, all right. So everyone's on the same page on how to read this. Okay, these are not numbers. These are percentages. Okay, so these percentages tell you what level of interest overall that particular date holds. So this date that says 100 on June 13th to
Is
June
that
19th,
E3?
I believe so. That means that is the highest amount of interest in the Intellivision Amico that date.
That would make sense.
So then a day here, like January 17th, which is like about 48, that means that the interest was a little less than half of the interest that from this 100% date. Okay. So like I said, they're not hard numbers. But currently, we're here.
And that's where it's projected
That's
as
when we
dotted.
had. So on December 19th to the 25th, they had about 26% interest. So it's actually gone up because it was down to zero on December 5th. From November 28th to December 11th, it was zero. So it's gone up. It's going up a little more interest. So it's had its peaks, its valleys, highs and lows. And like I said, it's not hard numbers. But you can see here by sub-region, Utah, surprisingly, is the most interested in the U.S., followed by Colorado, Massachusetts, Minnesota, and then Kentucky. If we go, I think there's a way to look. This is the United States. Let's go worldwide. So see, worldwide interest peaked here on these 2 days, June 13th and then August 8th. It's pretty much. And worldwide interest is down at 4, 9, what are we at? 12% worldwide interest. The biggest region is Canada. OEB Pete, Classy Fun Gaming Pete, is keeping it as the most interested place, with the United States being half as interested as Canada. Interesting. So,
You think Germany would be higher on that list?
yeah, Germany is 5th. It has a quarter of the interest that Canada holds. So, if we went by this chart as far as sales, right? So Canada would have the highest should have the highest amount of sales if it were to launch. If it was available right now, the people interested in it, most of them will be from Canada. And then half as many would be the United States. So if they had 6,000 pre-orders, that would mean roughly, say, 3,000 in Canada, 1,500 in the U.S., and then the other 1,500 spread out among these three.
I said this months ago. I posed the question. I said, why were Canadians so interested in the Amico?
That's the OEBP effect. I mean, you got Ninja Kitty's from Canada. He's probably looks up on Google all the time when he's looking for shit to Tommy Amico, I think he's Canada. Yeah, well, Tommy was on TV in Canada the most, so that's probably where his actual fan base for Tommy is probably in Canada. Art Bell says 2 new game proposals: Lag, and Miss, and then for the jail systems, Lube. Yeah, 1 inch biceps. He put that video in the chat. It says, "Don't watch it now though, because Tony and Gary are doing their thing." Yeah, good advice. Yeah, so there you go. Don't forget Darius, Kenny, Canadian Gamer.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot more Canadian YouTubers that talk about the Amico than there's American YouTubers. No offense to Gary or Carl, but I think Gary, Carl, Blinded, since they're all on this show, we just count as one.
Yeah.
Versus, Ninja Kitty, Canadian Gamer, Darius, Pete. I think there's a couple other ones in Canada, no? That one, the dude from the Best Buy Canada blog.
Is that
Yet no one in Canada knows what an Amico is. I don't think no one anywhere knows what an Amico is.
Is the Best Buy guy that keeps doing his like 10 thing where he sits outside the Best Buy?
No, that's Kenny.
Oh, okay.
The Best Buy Canada guy, that's John Scar. He's like Scars Gaming or something. Dorkalicious is the one where he went to how was it? And he was in Canada. I think he went to Best Buy or something to buy an Amico on 10/10/2020. And of course, it wasn't out yet.
I think I'm about to do a funny video. I think I'm going to start seeing if I can record and going into GameStops asking employees about the Amico.
Harassing GameStop employees about the Amico. When they get kicked off of the GameStop website, it's going to be your fault, Gary. It's like, see, because Gary went in there and harassed all of them. They removed it from the website.
Can you sell me, sir, on the Amico? Can you tell me more?
You should go in there and ask them. Be like, what console should I get my kid? The Amico or the Switch? They're both about $250. I'm on the fence. Help me out, Mr. GameStop employee. Scream at them like Chris Chan. Yeah, go in there and just be like, "It's Amico," and just start throwing stuff over.
I can't do that. Going to jail for a long
Write
time.
Amico on your chest, and then just rip your shirt open, and just be like, "Amico!" right in the middle of the store. Film it. Blind Abril says I will probably have to walk into an EB Games and pre-order the Amico to see the reaction. And then they're not going to find it in the system. They're like, what? What the fuck's an Amico? Get the fuck out of here. Bullshit.
What's the skew?
Yeah, what's the skew? They don't have that. It's not on sale. Somehow or another, we got 15 people still here after 5.5 hours.
You guys are sick.
Yeah, I know. I said Amico, and everyone just fucking jumped over. Like, hey, he's talking to Amico. Let's go over there and see what the fuck he's saying. I think that's it. I think that's all we have